title against the American Marvin Hagler. Now, Harry Carpenter has been at Wembley this afternoon for both the weigh-in and also to look forward to tonight's contest.
Well, in rather less than 6 hours from now, this ring behind me here at the Wembley Arena will be filled with the World Middleweight Championship between the holder of the title, Alan Minter of Great Britain, and the challenger from the United States, Marvin Hagler. This is an all-southpaw battle, and of course it is the only undisputed world title at any weight. Now, it's an important fight in every single way, and particularly for Minter, it's his second defence, and it looks like being the hardest fight of his entire professional life. Now, who is Marvin Hagler, and what has he done? Well, you only have to look at his record to realise that here is a very, very dangerous challenger, and he is the leading challenger in the world. 28 years old, surprisingly short. I don't think he's much more than about 5'9", if that. But his record is outstanding, 53 professional fights and only 2 defeats. And if you just looked at that, you would say, well, Minter is in for a very tough night. But there is one big question mark hanging over Marvin Hagler's head. He's fought for this world title before. Last November in Las Vegas, he took on the then champion, Vito Antuofermo, also of the United States. Now, Hagler was confident of winning this, and most people thought he would. In fact, he went into the ring as a 4-to-1 favourite. Well, at times, he did look impressive, and if we have a look at the 15th and final rounds, you'll see just what Mr. Hagler can do. Hagler makes another little bit of a comeback. And hasn't subdued the champion. And this crowd in Las Vegas now really beginning to get very excited indeed in this final round. They've seen Antuofermo fighting back all the way from the 10th. And beginning to stand up now around the ring and applauding both men. Tremendously hard battle. Well, that little bit of action of the shaven-headed Hagler shows that he can look impressive. But he didn't win that fight. He started out very strongly indeed, and he went into an early lead, but he didn't finish it too well. And when Antuofermo put him under pressure towards the end, then Hagler didn't look nearly as good. And this is the question mark hanging over his head. Is he as good a fighter going back as he is coming forward? Well, a few months after that fight, of course, Alan Minter went to Las Vegas, and he too fought Vito Antuofermo for the world title. And Minter did what Hagler couldn't do. He beat Antuofermo, and he beat him very, very easily indeed, in my opinion. It was a split decision, but it seemed to me that Minter had won it very well indeed on points. And this June, they met again. Antuofermo came to this country to try to get his title back from Alan Minter in this very ring here at Wembley. And this time, Minter beat him even more easily. And if we look at the opening moments, the first round of that fight, you'll see what I mean. The eyes of Antuofermo look so vulnerable. It's unbelievable. Left hand has got him again. And there's blood on Antuofermo's face already, 2.5 minutes in. And he's cut above the right eye. Minter fighting with all the confidence and coolness of a champion. So there in the first round, Antuofermo, the former world champion, was already cut, and as that fight went on, so his face seemed to disappear into a mass of bad cuts. The fight was stopped in the 8th round, and when I went behind the scenes to interview Antuofermo in his dressing room, he'd already had 15 stitches put in those cuts. So Minter is the champion, and tonight he makes his second defence against this man, Hagler. Now, since Hagler arrived in this country, there's been quite a war of words going on with some racist overtones in them. Minter made an unfortunate remark very early on in training about not going to have his title being taken away by a black chap. He later revised it slightly. And then Hagler was thought to be pushing it a bit when he said that he didn't want to shake hands with a white man, but he later pointed out that he never shook hands with any opponent until after the fight was over. Well, the war of words has gone on, but now we come to the reality. And part of that reality today at 1 o'clock here at Wembley Arena was the weigh-in. And the first man to come to the ring was Hagler, the challenger. Well, Hagler came onto the scales at first, quite confidently wearing his underpants and confident, obviously, that he'd make the weight. But he didn't. That was the sensation. His weight was announced as 11 stone 6.5 pounds, which is precisely half a pound over the middleweight limit. Well, there was argument about whether the scales were straight, whether there were too many people in the ring. Somebody suggested that Hagler should weigh in stripped. So, two young ladies who were standing in the ring advertising the sponsor's product were politely asked to remove themselves, and then Mr. Hagler removed his pants, and he got on the scales again, and at first it was said he was 1 ounce over the limit, and then eventually they made up their minds and said, no, he's 3 ounces over, and he had 2 hours to get it off. And of course, if he didn't get it off, then he wouldn't be able to challenge for the world title. So Hagler went away to the dressing room to try and get those 3 ounces off. And then into the ring came the champion, Alan Minter, with a fair army of fans all round the ringside. Minter and his fans lately seem almost to have got a monopoly of the Union Jack, and it now extends to the underpants that Minter wears before all his big fights. And when he stripped off to get onto the scales, he was wearing his Union Jack underpants. No problems for the world champion. He weighed in at 11 stone 5 3/4. So he was 4 ounces under the limit. Well, some 35 minutes later, Marvin Hagler, the American, returned to the ring to try to make the 11 stone 6 pounds. And this time he weighed in his jockstrap, and he made the weight absolutely dead on, 11 stone 6 pounds. Well, I just wondered how much psychologically it had all taken out of Hagler, and he was the man I spoke to first. Marvin, that must have come as a shock to you to come in overweight.
Well, not really. I weighed myself in this morning and I was 160. I was surprised at the difference on this scale here, but it don't bother me too much. I've been through this before. Like I say, everything's experience for this fight. I've been through it before, so it's nothing new. I'm just going to take it out on Minter now, that's all.
How did you get the 3 ounces off?
Oh, well, that's my secret. That's a fighter's secret, and you don't want to reveal that.
Have you enjoyed your training in this country while you've been here?
So far, it's been very nice. The people that I met have been very good. Now all I want to do is destroy and destruct this man. You know, take my championship belt, which I believe is mine, and come tonight, I'm going to do that.
Do you regard Alan Minter as the toughest man you've ever met?
Well, I fought better. I'm quite sure. I fought a lot better opponents. I'll see which category he fits in when I step in the ring with him tonight.
Okay, we look forward to a good fight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, Alan, you've weighed in successfully. Marvin Hagler's having a few problems. What do you make of that?
Is he? Well, he couldn't have been too careful, you know. I know there's a lot of difference between in America and this country being pounds and stones and that, but I think he's just slipped up. He's trained hard for the fight. He's just slipped up on the scales.
He's only got to get 3 ounces off.
That's all, yeah.
Have you ever been in that problem for a title fight?
Never, ever. No, never, ever.
We've been admiring the natty Union Jack underpants. Is that traditional wear when you
yeah.
come in for a big fight?
Yeah. When I first won the title in Las Vegas, I wore them then. I wore them when I fought Antuofermo at Wembley, then I'm wearing them again this time. They're not the same ones. They're all different.
And you're happy with the way your training's gone?
Yeah, fantastic. I feel nice and well. I'll be glad when it's all over, Eric.
Got a few days' growth of beard there. How many days has that been growing?
Does it suit me?
Hey, it looks very smart.
3 days.
Do you do that every time in a big fight?
Every time. It makes me feel like an animal, dirty and, you know.
Yeah, Hagler might be saying the same thing.
Yeah, very likely.
Anyway, good luck, Alan,
Thank
and
you, Harry.
hope it goes well.
Thank you very much.
So now, with all the excitement of that rather surprising weigh-in over, we wait for the big fight. Some 5.5 hours from now, the two men will come into the ring. Who's going to win? It is not an easy fight to sum up. But in view of the comparative form against Antuofermo, you have to fancy Alan Minter to successfully defend his title. He is a slight favourite with the bookmakers, but clearly everybody believes, and I suspect Minter himself must believe it, it is going to be an exceptionally hard fight. And it's a very challenger from the United States, Marvin Hagler, is the first to come to the ring, and he has to make his way through that crowd of solidly pro-Minter supporters. The spotlight on the stars and stripes, and the atmosphere quite remarkable here in this Wembley arena tonight. The man, Hagler, calls himself the uncrowned middleweight champion of the world. Famous for the shaven head, which we shall see when the robe comes off, and for his refusal to shake hands with any opponent before any fight. The man who calls himself Marvelous Marvin Hagler, whose own slogan is destruction and destroy, and clearly is the most dangerous opponent that Alan Minter has ever had to face. And now these remarkable scenes and this immense crescendo of sound greet the champion, 29-year-old Alan Minter, who has never had a reception such as this. The man has suddenly become a national boxing institution. And this immense crowd at Wembley are cheering their heads off as Minter enters the ring. Surrounded by Union Jacks, everybody with him, clothed, it seems, in Union Jacks. It is all a great British celebration. And he comes into the ring to the cheers of 10,000 people, because Wembley Arena tonight is packed to the rafters and expecting victory.
For the national anthems.
Minter sang throughout the national anthem, staring his opponent in the face. Well, this is a truly remarkable night for boxing. The support for Minter here is quite staggering. There must be some Americans in the place, but they're never going to be able to make themselves heard. Minter's second defence of this world title. Warming up vigorously in the ring. The whole place alive with anticipation.
To the main event of the evening. This is a contest of 15 rounds, 3 minutes each round, to decide the undisputed middleweight championship of the world, sponsored by Death Trucks. Presenting from Crawley, England, the champion, from Brockton in the United States, the challenger, marvelous Marvin Hagler. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, this match was made at 11 stone 6 pounds, and at the weigh-in today, Minter scaled 11 stone 5 3/4 pounds, Hagler 11 stone 6 pounds exactly. Your referee for this contest is Mr. Carlos Berrocol of Panama. Your judges, Mr. Marcello Bertini of Italy and Mr. Jose Guerra of Mexico. And your timekeeper, Mr. Jeffrey Williams.
So the preliminaries are over. And to a great barrage of sound now, they come to the centre of the ring, and you can see already how much taller Minter is than the challenger. Hagler really is quite short for a middleweight. He can't be much more than about 5'9". Minter's second defence of the undisputed World Middleweight Championship. The only title in the whole of professional boxing that is undisputed. Hagler must face Minter and the crowd. The shaven-headed American challenger, known early on in his career as the Toy Bull. Clearly a dangerous opponent, and Minter is going to be the governor from the start if he can make it. Hagler had a few problems today at the weigh-in. He scaled 3 ounces over the 11 stone 6 limit, and he took it off in about half an hour. How much that will have affected him psychologically, no one knows but Hagler. Two southpaws. Hagler already firing quickly and accurately with his own right hand. He catches Minter with the left as well. And again. And this promises to be the war we thought it might be. Hagler is said not to be so good if you get him under pressure. Minter's got a cut underneath his left eye. Within a minute of the start, Minter is cut. So the accuracy and the stinging effect of Hagler's punching is already apparent on the champion's face. It's the southpaw right lead from Hagler that's done that. These two have got down to business very, very quickly. Minter is being drawn into some very fierce exchanges early on. Hagler has come for the title he believes he deserves. But he picked up damage in the first minute, and it looks to me as though he might have a second injury, as well as the one underneath the left eye. So, the champion, after only 3 minutes, needs somewhat urgent attention in that corner, and that's entirely due to the sharp and accurate punching of the challenger Hagler, the shaven-headed challenger from Brockton, Massachusetts, which of course was the home of the late and great Rocky Marciano. Born in the slums and ghettos of Newark, New Jersey, he moved to Brockton, Massachusetts when he was 16 years old. Now Minter marked underneath the left eye, and there may be damage elsewhere.
Don't try to fucking settle down. All right.
Minter does indeed look quite marked around the left eye. This is his old trouble, but he hasn't suffered from it lately. It just shows the immensity of the performance in front of him. Hagler is catching him with lefts over the top as well. This is a very determined and dangerous challenger. Good punch from Minter. What a right hand. Pulled the man up in his tracks. And this is certainly one of the most savage world championships we've seen here in this country for a long time. This is a fight to a finish, and that finish is never going to be 15 rounds away at this rate. Never. Minter bleeding. Bleeding from the nose. And these two have felt the weight of each other's punches already. And Minter is picking up quite a lot of punishment as he tries to move in. Right eye beginning to look red as well. Good left hand for Minter. And this pair really are launching the most savage attacks at each other. And we're only 6 minutes into the fight. That really was a very fierce round indeed. And Minter's face bears testimony to the savagery of this fight. He's cut underneath the left eye. He's got marks above the... He's cut underneath the left eye. He's got marks above the left eye. His nose is bleeding. And really, he has taken more punishment in the first 2 rounds of this fight than in several recent fights put together. Hagler, unmarked, but occasionally felt the weight of Minter's punching and didn't seem to like it too much. One punch absolutely pulled him up dead in his tracks. Well, the man promised a war. He said the title was rightfully his and he was coming to get it. And he certainly is trying that. And Minter is going to have to pull out the fight of his life to win this. Minter now got a mark underneath the right eye, one underneath the left eye. And we haven't seen Minter looking this marked for a very long time indeed. All his 60 feats, Minter, have always come through facial injury. Never been beaten on points, never been stopped by punches, always on cuts. Nose bleeding as well. And Hagler is looking a very sharp and dangerous puncher. And Minter now bleeding above the left eye. So that's the third one that's appeared. Hagler's head rubbing in against him. Carlos Berrical, the Panamanian referee, having trouble keeping them apart. Minter's picking up hard punches as he tries to fight back. He's being forced into a real war. He's smothered in blood, Minter, and he's in desperate trouble in the third round. He can't keep the man away. Hagler will not be denied. And Minter's left eye is in real trouble, and the referee stopped it so that they can have a look at it. It is a really very bad cut over Minter's left eye, and it stopped. It stopped in the third round, and Hagler's on his knees, acclaiming his victory. He said he was the rightful champion, and he's won it in 3 rounds, and people are throwing beer cans. One's landed on me. Beer cans are being hurled in all over the ring. There's a fight started over Hagler. Somebody's attacking him, and there is chaos here, absolute chaos. I'm smothered in beer, so are all my colleagues around me. And people are trying to attack Hagler. Police are trying to move into the ring to protect Hagler. Oh, I've been struck on the head by a bottle. And this is the worst scenes we've ever seen at Wembley in any boxing ring in this country. It's absolute chaos. The crowd are mad with this. And clearly they're accusing Hagler of using his head against Minter and causing Minter to lose the world title. And the rage has broken out all around Wembley. And these scenes are a shame and a disgrace to British boxing. But there it is, that's what's happening. And we've all taken our share of it around the ringside, I can tell you. So less than 3 rounds it took for Hagler to win.
Hand round Alan Minter, please.
And after that, all hell broke loose at Wembley. It was not pleasant, I can tell you. Minter smothered in blood. You can see from the towel the state he's in. Both his eyes suffered in that onslaught from Hagler. Well, there was a bit of rubbing of head. But believe me, the first cuts were started by punches because Hagler was a very, very determined, aggressive and indeed vicious challenger. And so, Britain has lost one of our world champions, the undisputed world middleweight champion. Alan Minter leaves the ring a loser, no longer champion. Hagler's already gone, escorted by police. And these are sad and shameful scenes. So, the World Middleweight Championship that promised so much has dissolved and crashed into a really horrendous scene at Wembley. Bottles and cans were being hurled full of beer from all parts around the ringside. And even as I speak, people behind me are yelling abuse into the ring at that finish. a British boxing crowd wasn't able to accept defeat. And even the MC now has made an announcement to the crowd that the behaviour has been disgusting. And I echo that. Marvin, congratulations. That was some performance.
Thank you very much. It's well deserved. I know that. Believe me, it didn't come easy.
Were you surprised how easily he cut?
Well, you know, I was ready for the 15 rounds. I trained hard and everything. I punished his body, and I believe that's what you have to do. I give a lot of credit to Alimenta. He fought like a champion. The way to go out is the hard way. You know, you came hard and you go out hard. And so he should feel any embarrassment, anything like that. I figured that he was beat by a better fighter, and it was good. I leave a rematch or whatever up to my manager and trainer, you know, and all the other people. But right now what I want to do is relax a little bit and come back as a fighting champion.
Those 2.5 rounds were pretty tough at times, weren't they?
They were good, you know. That's what it's all about, of being in there for a championship fight. I learned from the first time when I fought Antuofermo. I wanted it real bad. I think I even wanted it, and I lightened up a lot, hoping that I can almost get it as a gift. I worked hard that fight there, too, but this one here, I put in a little bit more. I went to school after the Antuofermo fight, and my trainer and I we worked extra hard, and everything just come together. And I thanks for the sparring partners that I had. And like I said, you know, he was just falling into the right place that I wanted to put him.
Did you think all the cuts were caused by punches?
They were, all by punches, good punch shots, you know, no complaints about anything. Everything was right on the money. I was in the best I've ever been, and I really felt great tonight. And I wanted to put him out cold. That was the way that I wanted to put him out. And I thank God that the referee stopped the fight the way that he did, because the man couldn't see, and I was taking advantage of that. And I was hoping that he would step in, and I think the referee done a great job so that nobody seriously get hurt.
What did you think about those bad scenes afterwards?
Well, it just showed me how famous that I was and how much, you know, you have to have a entree, you know, a way out or a way in, you know, and that's what I liked about it. But I'm glad to bring Alimenta back down to earth and hoping that he understands exactly what happened. And a champion has to keep his feet on the ground, and that's what it's all about, being able to deal with reality and people. Don't let anything uprule his head of yours, you know. Being able to still be the same person that you are, that's what maintains your goal and keep you level-headed.
Would you give him a return?
Well, I keep that up to my people and whatever they say. That's what I've always been doing, and that's who it is. We fought the best in the world, and Alimenta was one of the best, too. And, hey, this fight here will go down in history as one of the great middleweight fights of all times.
It was a war.
Alan, it was a war.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
Well, for a start, I never boxed the planes. I mean, as I've just said, you know, I've gone forward to a fight. See, all through my training sessions, and not just my cornerman, but other people were saying to me, whatever you do, do not get involved with this guy for the first 5 or 6 rounds, or even 7 rounds. Then go start pressing forward and go and try and take him out. The first round, I've gone out like a lunatic to try and get him. I caught him in the second round, and he was as fit and as strong as me in the early stages, and I just blew it, really. I think it was definitely my fault for having a fight with the guy.
Because you were getting cut so early on, weren't you?
Well, this is the problem. You know, I got a cut early, and you know, mentally you think you know you're cut early, you don't know how bad it is, and psychologically you think, right, I'm cut, and I've still got 14 rounds to go. I could see if I can take him out, and that's what enters your mind. You know, if I never got injured, maybe I would have kept it at long range. I don't know. The mood I was in tonight, I think I would have had a fight with anybody. You know.
How many stitches are in there, Doug?
I don't know, Harry, to be exact, but there's about 15 in there, I think.
The one over the left eye was the bad one at the
That
first
was
round.
very bad, yeah. I mean, there was no possible way he could have continued with that because it was flapping open completely, and the obvious thing, I mean, with another 12 rounds to go, the obvious thing to do was to come out, you know. I mean, I stopped the fight. The referee called my attention to it, and as soon as I saw it, that was it. And it's gone. I mean, we've had a wonderful job done it, and it's all gone back beautifully, and I'm sure everything will be okay. We'll have no problems. But we had to come out at that stage. We couldn't have gone on for another 12 rounds with that cut.
You see, Alan's being very honest about it and saying, well, I fought the wrong sort of fight. I shouldn't have
Harry,
done it. But, I mean, you must have been telling him to do something different.
Yeah, well, you see, you know, Alan's quite right to say what he says, and that's the way he feels, you know. But, you know, we must say this. I mean, the first couple of punches that were delivered in this fight, Alan got cut. you know, that immediately changes the course of any planned fight. I mean, if you cut in the first round of a 15-round fight, I mean, it takes some sort of an Iceman to continue with a plan after that. And, you know, Alan just reverted to his natural way, which is to have a fight. When he's in trouble, he usually fights his way out. It just never come off this time.
Now, all those bad scenes afterwards, a lot of the crowd clearly kicked up a fuss because they thought his head was involved. Now, did you think so?
Well, he clashed heads with me a couple of times, and I got him back to the corner. I said, he's nuts doing me. But as his head was doing me, so he was throwing punches and they were landing in the same place as his head. But, well, he was short of me, and with him boxing and coming in close, I suppose he can't be helped, but the head was every now and again, you could feel it clonk, clonk, you know, and I was saying, like, his head's doing me. But I don't make excuses, Harry.
No, I don't think there was anything deliberate there, I must say that. There was nothing that you could point out as being deliberate. But the thing is, that's the man's style. The man follows everything with his head, you know, I mean, that's the way he fights, and that's it, you know what I mean?
Do you think you might ever return with it?
Well, he's got to fight me again. In the contract, he's got to fight me. So, it's on, so he's got to fight me.
You're going to need a bit of time, though, for those cuts.
I'm going to have 6 months. I was going to have 6 months off anyway.
We were going to have 6 months.
Don't matter what was happening, Harry. But, you know, I mean, I never boxed. You used to be boxed a lot better, I know. I don't make excuses. I box not like a mug, but I got too involved and that's it. But I've learned a lesson. It's a terrible way to learn a lesson, but I've learned a lesson, Harry.
Well, we've done it before. We've done it before.
You know?
We've had cuts before and come back. And Alan, in this frame of mind, if he wants to do it, can do it again.
Alan, we can all understand it's a sick night for you. You've taken it very well, and if some of the people out there had taken it as well, it would have been better.
How was it out there?
It was very rough and nasty.
Yeah, we're very sad about that. That is a shame.
What did they do then?
Beer cans, bottles being thrown in, people jumping into the ring, all sorts of fights with the
Well,
police.
not me, not after me.
Not
No,
after
just
you. No.
disappointed.
Very angry with Hagler because they thought he'd used his head.
Just
But, yeah, well, you know, if he used his head, he wasn't, you know, he never done it. He never meant to do it. It just happened. You know, really, 15 rounds, you know, a world-class fighter like I am, I could have walked out there and gone, OK, Marvin, come and take my title, and I could have moved and moved. Don't get involved at all. Let the rounds dribble by, then go in and try and have a fight. But